So as promised, I am doing a follow-up content on my previous video about how pageantry is slowly dying in the world right now. And I'm so happy that this topic resonated so much to all of you guys with your fiery and passionate comments on my comment section across my social media platforms. Sa totoo lang guys, I did not expect that it would generate so much interest to all of you. So since I kind of opened a major topics for conversation, I might as well continue it. So for this content, I will be reacting to some of the comments that you made here, and I will try to share you all my opinion about it. So I'll be picking 3 to 5 comments from all your comments on my comment section. So let's see if you will still agree with me on some of the things that I will have to say here. So guys, let's begin. From Victoretella on my YouTube channel, he says, I disagree with the many things that you said, Adam. I watched Miss Universe live in New Orleans, LA, with Miss Lian Ramos and MJ in Doral, Florida. The one in New Orleans was the loudest and the most magnificent presentation of the three. Many Americans and Europeans love the pageants, as the French. But it is tacky in the West to talk about beauty pageants. Such hypocrites. So, basically, from my understanding, what this guy is saying is that pageantry is still very much alive nowadays. And I still don't agree. Well, I will try to explain my side later. But first, I want to say that I really couldn't react fully on what he just said here, as I have never, as I never got to watch the Miss Universe editions both in LA back in 2006 and Doral, Florida in 2015. So I will just focus on the other things that this follower commented, because he said there many Americans and Europeans still love pageants. Again, I feel this is certainly debatable. Yes, probably on their smartphones, but not so much anymore on mainstream television. And I get why, because everyone has shifted to digital nowadays, and we have a lot of data to prove that. But the thing is, despite how many Americans and French watch these pageants, annual pageants, it still doesn't take away the fact that these high volume of viewership, whether on smartphones in Miss Universe or in Miss France's case, millions of TV viewers, it still does not bring so much business for Miss Universe or Miss France to take their fascination to a whole new level that could contribute to Miss Universe expanding its business empire in the world. These Westerners, in my opinion, just watch the show probably just for pure entertainment value. Although with the French, you would still get to understand its level of fascination for Miss France because it is deeply rooted with its, in its history and culture, with how Moulin Rouge Cabaret has remained popular in France. But if you check out Reddit, the people there, grabe, are so unforgiving. If you check it out, the people there, they say that it's nice to laugh at the girls, especially when they figure in viral videos. So, ang baba-baba talaga ng tingin nila. And just look na lang at how France never saw Iris Mittenaires win a perfect moment to either host Miss Universe or generate more deals or sponsorships for Iris during her reign. And we are just only talking about Miss France here, and not how the other pageants in Europe are really doing. So, what makes this person say that Europeans tend to love pageants so much when it only seems that the French, who has this fondness to watch their pageants given the huge rating numbers that they bring for its own pageant. But sige, if this guy really insists that pageantry is still so much alive nowadays, well, how can this guy comment naman on the international reign of the present crop of the Alpha 4 or Big 5 title holders nowadays? Unlike before, their travel schedules have been severely cut. Diba, napansin nyo, how many major events are they invited to nowadays? Diba? When was the last time they made headlines during their reign? And it only seems that the most of their travel is just to crown the girls in their pageant. And if I go back to my previous argument that even on these queens' most important media junket after their crowning moment, wala na din. So how much more in the next few years? And if they get to be on the subject of the headlines, it's mostly negative pa. Napansin nyo? Sino pa nakakatanda ng crowning mix-up ni Pia and Ariadna back in 2015? Trump issues, Alicia Machado weight gain, diba? Etc. And one more thing, guys. Oo nga pala, where are the mainstream sponsors from the US now? Dati, we still get to see NBC, Herbal Claro Essences, Shampoo, CoverGirl Cosmetics, and many other brands sponsoring Miss Universe. Nowadays, napansin nyo, it's mostly companies from other countries who would invest in huge sponsorships like our very own Jojo Bragay, Olivia Quedo, and the Latinos Telemundo Network. And outside of that, wala ka nang makikitang prominent personalities or brands sponsoring Miss Universe. And sometimes I would get why these brands would no longer sponsor Miss Universe. Well, apart from the lack of popularity or relevance, ang negative pa ng news about Miss Universe making headlines nowadays. So, which company nga naman would like to be associated with that? Diba? So now we go to my number 2 commenter. And he's Tobias Cabrejas. So, from Tobias Cabrejas on Facebook, it's because the pageant questions are very cliche and a bit of hypocrisy. The contestants are claiming about inner beauty, blah, 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 mattered more, but here they are dieting, surgery, and putting tons of makeup and swaying their hips and showing their bodies. You know what? I have to agree on this. This guy has a point. People can really see through the hypocrisy, especially now that the advocacies are making pageants very relevant nowadays. I feel everything is just lip service from the part of most of the aspiring beauty queens or even title holders that we see today. I notice when these women compete, they have this narrative of trying to change the world, so that's why they adopt an advocacy, but they just tend to focus on the superficial instead, diba? Their faces, their clothes, their styling, and I can't fault them because that is also what we pageant fans are demanding from them, especially when it comes to their pasarela skills. And also, if you are truly, diba, if one is truly an advocate for something, why join a beauty pageant for that, diba? Ngayon ko lang din naisip, is the aspiring beauty queen saying pageants are the best platform to do that? Because the logic behind this argument is, oo nga naman, why can't this lady start a social media campaign about how her advocacy started by volunteering and generously sharing her time and effort to do that instead, right? So if she's really genuinely concerned about the plight of her community and wants to know more about how she could help them, then why not enroll herself in a graduate school instead, so she will be able in a better position to help because of more knowledge, right? Yung kasi yung natural logic about these advocacies. So this is why I get Tobias's argument here na oo nga naman, we talk about their advocacies, but we hardly see the queens do something about it, especially once the reign is over. So this is why I also feel pageants are being looked down upon, especially in Western countries, because of this superficiality. And as a pageant vlogger, I have to admit, masakit talaga pakinggan. Kasi parang what pageantry is doing now to us, people consuming it, if you are really thinking hard, is that it is underestimating the intelligence of its audience. Kasi ang premise naman kasi ng argument na to, going back with what I just said earlier, advocacies are making pageants relevant nowadays. But if you and I will think about it, it's just an assumption or premise that we are making about it. Na kasi nga naman, who says advocacy means relevance? Na do we have a data to show to people about its positive impact in the world of pageantry? Because if you're going to ask me if we should remove the advocacy part or aspect of the pageant, I say very tricky yun. But I will leave you with another question to answer that. Which among our queens are still continuing their advocacies now that their pageants are over? Again, I will leave this open-ended as the relevance of beauty pageants today is still a subject of ongoing debate. And now we go to, to my third commenter. From username cmydav9385 on YouTube. One more point is also that despite having two big two, Miss World and Miss Universe, lots of new pageants debut every year because there are so many pageants now, there is no uniqueness left. You know, I also had thought about this when I was doing my first commentary video about it, and I thought it couldn't be because these new pageants sprouting like mushrooms all of a sudden make it seem pageantry is a booming business. Maybe probably if they are coming from pageant country, crazy countries like our country, the Philippines. But if you will be more analytical about it, hindi eh. Especially if you are a true believer of this Alpha 4 or Big 5 concept of pageants na nauumay na tayong lahat sa dami ng mga nagsusulputang mga bagong pageants nowadays. Pero kung oobserbahan mo lahat ng mga babaeng sumasali, the goal is always Miss Universe or Miss World. Then, if this is the case, if this is the case that girls only want to join one or two pageants, then it means the pageant industry is not thriving. Kasi anong matatawag mo sa iba? Kasi 'di ba only one pageant pala matters nowadays. But I have to admit though, the proliferation of these new pageants kinda dims the shine on two of our oldest pageants in the world right now. Miss Universe and Miss World. Nahahati talaga yung attention natin. And I don't know what the motives of these new pageants, but they have remained to be on the business level so far and nothing more than that. Because instead of looking forward to the forthcoming editions of Miss Universe and Miss World, we suddenly get curious about these new pageants because of its concept or inception, especially if these new pageants tend to have better production compared to Miss Universe and Miss World. And as much as I hate how these new pageants are sprouting like mushrooms everywhere, I still get their existence. And it's because they're filling in a void or vacuum that our two oldest pageants have become as a result of thriving in a woke generation nowadays. Hindi na ako magpapaligoy pa. Let's take Miss Grand International, where everybody in the world seems to love nowadays. It is directly taking on Miss Universe head on in terms of entertainment and production value. So I get why it has developed a massive fan base around the world. And since IMG took over, it has somewhat downplayed the entertainment value of Miss Universe by employing so many lackluster formats in presenting its show over the years. Remember, girls walking in swim in groups of 3 back in 2016, rush swimsuit presentation in 2021, and the removal of the Fadil glossy photos. Sa Miss World naman, Miss World also removed its swimsuit segment of the competition beginning 2014. So ayan, nare-reduce na tuloy yung uniqueness ng Miss Universe because other pageants tend to copy an idea, but these other pageants tend to innovate or improve to make it more fun to watch. Now, it remains to be seen about the longevity of these pageants. But to be in all fairness, it's still too early to judge these new pageants. And with Mr. and Miss World now being consistent with their latest edition dates, trust me, all the more these new pageants will definitely be more than willing to take the vacuum being left by it. So, let's see. And now we go to my last commenter. And he's from... I got his comment from YouTube, from my YouTube channel. From Stephen Mokanu408 on YouTube. Adam, I agree with everything you said, but a lot of this seems like poor management and bad decisions to take the blame as well. What about having a Miss Universe channel and people can pay to hang out over video and have a live chat sometimes? You know? Oo nga naman, no? You have a great suggestion there, too. Maybe what I could also add is for Miss Universe to bring Shanice's natural side more by speaking in Spanish. Kasi, di ba, we keep hammering her for not being fluent in English, di ba? You know, kasi I'm also thinking of taking up basic Spanish lessons So I could converse with Latinos in the most basic level every time I would cover Miss Universe in a Latin country. And I was thinking, why not allow Shanice to do more Spanish content all across Miss Universe social media platforms? Instead of us forcing Shanice to speak English, why not turn her perceived weakness into a strength instead? If I will see Shanice probably posting more content in Spanish, even with English subtitles, I'll be interested to watch. So with more Latin content, then probably more Latin sponsors or brands will be enticed to invest in apart from Telemundo Network. And maybe another suggestion too, I am thinking right now, I don't know if Shanice loves to act or would like to build on a successful TV or movie career after her reign as Miss Universe. Before kasi, di ba, natandaan nyo, we get to see former Miss Universe title holders being enrolled in New York Film Academy classes. Now, it's gone. So I would like for Miss Universe to revisit that idea so it could get its reigning title holders invites to appear in red carpet events, also like movie premieres, award shows, just to increase its queen's visibility or presence on social media. Bottom line is, MUO should take charge on how it should want Shanice's reign to look like. Or Shanice, or if not, Shanice herself needs to hustle or step it up. So there. You know, there are still so many responses I would like to react on, but I feel I already said so many things again on this content. So what do you think about the things that I just said here? Well, let me know your thoughts down below and I will be reading all of them again. But you know what, guys? As early as now, I already have several thought-provoking topics I am thinking of coming out with, as I am inspired by all the views and responses that I'm getting from all of you here right now. So thank you so much for the inspiration. So with that, let's continue making pageantry alive, at least in my platform as pageant fans, by sharing all our observations with one another from time to time. Because who knows, baka malay nyo, may nanonood pala ditong mga taga Miss Universe or taga Miss World Organization, and maybe they could ponder on our observations at the moment. Kasi guys, I just don't want pageantry to die soon. Baka as hardcore pageant fans, may magawa pa tayo to save our beloved pageants.